What's going on, everybody? Noah from Stage 3 Motorsports here, and today I'm going to bring you a quick install and overview on these Ford Performance trim rings for the Bronco. Now, it's not a true functional bead lock, which I will say that Ford Performance does offer a bead lock upgrade where you can swap this with a functional ring, but I'm not going to cover that in this video. It's kind of its own separate product. So what we're going to focus on is the actual trim ring replacements that can go in place of the silver ring that you get from factory. Now, Ford Performance offers a couple different variations of these rings. The first one obviously is the red that I have in hand here, and it is a direct match to the red that we have on our Bronco currently. So it is a little overwhelming doing red on red in most cases, but I think this would also look really good if you just had a basic black or white Bronco, or even something like the Cactus Gray with red accents around it. So it really depends on the look that you're going for and how much of an accent that you want. But they do also have it available in orange and black as well. The orange is a pretty nice touch with some of the orange accents that are already on a Badlands Bronco and the badging that's on the outside. And then the black obviously is quite a bit more subtle and certainly works for those of you guys that want more of a utilitarian look and don't want anything flashy on the truck. It probably goes without saying, but these rings are going to be a direct bolt-on replacement, so you don't have to modify the wheel at all to swap these out. And like I said, I'll show you the swapping process here in just a minute. But the other thing I want to cover is the fact that this is a nice high-quality powder coat that Ford's layered on here that's plenty thick, and it will take some abuse, but they can be scuffed and damaged just like any other painted ring you put on here. And I know that one of the big complaints and things that people mention is going to be the price. And these rings are not cheap. Typically, they run around $700 or so when they're not on sale, and then oftentimes you can find them on sale for around $500 or maybe slightly more. But no matter how you cut it, they are a pricey upgrade, and it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So I totally understand if you have your concerns, and you are able to pull off the factory rings and repaint them. Now, if I set this one down, I've got one of the stock rings here that I pulled off on another wheel. You can see that for the most part, the factory ring is pretty much identical to the Ford Performance version, outside of a couple changes to the designs around the screw holes where there's some other beveling and stuff that's been altered slightly. But for the most part, you can pull this off and repaint it and get a very similar product. You just may not get as nice of a finish. But with that being said, let's pull these off and I'll show you guys how to do the install on them. You'll essentially only need two tools to install these or to remove your factory rings, and that's going to be a ratchet and a T45 Torx bit. As you can see, they start to back out pretty easy, but I absolutely recommend doing this with a ratchet first to get them loose. And then if you want to save a little time, you can pop your Torx bit onto a drill or onto an impact to back them out. But I definitely do not recommend using an impact or something to run these back in once you have the new trim rings. You'll want to tighten them by hand and lock them down. There's a lot of risk for you to cross thread it and mess it up if you don't do it properly. So just keep that in mind along the way. With the trim ring off, you can see all the threaded holes around the outside edge of the wheel. Obviously, if you're doing the functional bead lock, you're going to use all of these, but for the trim rings, you're only using a couple. Now, the only thing I'll say is if your wheels are pretty dirty or you manage to get some dirt down in there, you probably want to wipe this down before mounting the new ring over it, just to avoid trapping some of those little pieces of sand or little bits of rocks in there and keeping it from just wearing away at the wheel finish on the inside. So just a microfiber towel will do it to get it cleaned out. Then we can bring our Ford Performance ring into place. Just kind of seat it over the lip. And then you want to make sure that one of these cutouts that's around the edge is lined up with your valve stem and that it's not getting blocked off. So that's what's going to help you choose which holes you use to mount it. But we'll start at the top and we're just going to reuse the factory hardware. So I'll get them all started by hand, that way it's holding on. And like I said, I don't recommend using an impact or anything on these. I would tighten them by hand all the way through. Just start with your fingers and then move to the ratchet and you should be good to go. So that's all it takes to swap the rings out. As you can see, it's really simple and you can do this in your driveway without any issue, but you'll just duplicate those same steps on all the wheels all the way around. And typically these kits come with 5 rings, so you can do it to the spare to make sure that it all matches. But with that being said, if you're interested in picking up a set of these rings for your Bronco, we'll have some links down in the description. They're going to shoot you over to our website. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.